Polychlorinated biphenyls are persistent, toxic molecules that were commonly used in the manufacturing of paints, adhesives, lubricants, and even carbonless paper for many years in the mid-20th century. Although PCBs were banned in 1976 due to their toxic effects, emerging PCBs are still being found today throughout the environment. These emerging PCBs are formed from the decomposition of different anthropogenic products, such as the pigments in paint and recycled papers. PCBs benefit from the large quantities of trash we produce because microplastics attract and easily allow PCBs to bind. These microplastic particles then act as vectors to transport the PCBs into fish and other aquatic organisms in higher volumes.
Based on the research done on the fish species Spara serrata, it's a type of sea bream often raised in aquaculture in Italy and the Mediterranean. The research experiment was done with 3 groups of the bream. One group was the control, fed with a commercial fish meal. Another group was fed the same feed that was laced with particles of polyethylene, which is the most widely used plastic in the world. And the last group was given that same feed left out in the summer sun. Every 30 days, a fish from each group was collected, and their liver and flesh tissues were examined for PCB and other compounds. And what we're seeing at the end of the 120 days is that the PCB concentration of the fish fed the polyethylene feed have significantly higher amounts of PCB in both their flesh and liver. And that's just proof that PCB is a compound with the ability to accumulate within an individual.
As for the larger implications of this issue, we know that globally fish accounts for 17% of animal protein intake in the human diet. In many countries, this number is over 50% of animal protein intake, such as in the Maldives, where it's 71%, which is quite high. So we know that fish is an important part of the human diet and nutrition. We also can see that these PCBs, these microplastics, bioaccumulate in the food chain and can create serious issues if they are allowed to accumulate that much. So these pollutants are quite important. So we need to take steps to make sure that these microplastics can't damage our human diet as well as the global ecology. Because if this issue is allowed to persist, it could create a serious problem.